And what is easily the biggest middle finger to society from otaku culture, Magical Destroyers has arrived. Magical Destroyers is bonkers crazy, and I absolutely love it for it. Really one of those cases where it feels like a studio is just having a lot of fun with what they're doing. Just a world that has had all of its otaku culture removed from it, and this guy who's leading a group of magical girls to bring it back. Honestly, as a fan of anime or being an otaku in general about something is something that the society as a whole doesn't like. They don't like that we like things a lot. And so we obviously face a lot of criticism for that. And so it's fun to kind of get into a world where it's been completely removed and a group of people are trying to fight back to reclaim it. Whether it's censorship or just being told you're not allowed to do something, it's something that people don't want to hear. So at its heart, similar to shows like Rumble Garandal or Shimonetta, it's sort of that fighting back. Characters, as a fan, you can root for. And having a studio that seems like they're having way too much fun with it, it's kind of infectious as you watch it. But this is my thoughts of the first 2 episodes of Magical Destroyer, a series that is airing in the spring 2023 anime season, an original by Biberi Studios, so let's jump right into it. Magical Destroyers opens up in a world where the government decides to remove all otaku culture from it. For those who don't know, otaku in Japan is essentially somebody that's just obsessed with one thing. It could be a train otaku, it could be a hunting otaku, it could be anime otaku. And the government feels like it needs to protect the people by imprisoning those that are otaku and removing all subjects that would be considered something an otaku would like. Yes, including anime. And it only took them a week to pretty much remove everything and destroy anything that would be seen as that. So a group of people rose up, all led by Otaku Hero. And at his side is 3 magical girls, Anarchy, Pink, and Blue. And they fought for a while, but unfortunately got to the point where Otaku Hero gave up. They lost Blue, they lost Pink, and all he had left at his side was Anarchy. But thanks to her encouragement, he rises up once again to go reclaim Blue and Pink and fight back against this army. For Blue, unfortunately, she was captured because she posted herself up on this hookup site. Very lewd pictures of herself, but she ends up getting captured, so they have to basically bust into a camp, destroy everything, and free all the otaku that are there, as well as her. Pink, on the other hand, is a little more difficult situation because she's apparently in some sort, kind of implies this idea that she was sort of in this hallucinogenic drug, and so they pretty much have to join her in that drug, go inside of her mind, and somehow navigate the madness that's in there before they finally find her and try to appeal to her and the idea that they all made this big promise together, but in the end it sort of just turns into all of her followers sort of push her into the idea of, you know, going out there and trying to reclaim our world, and they'll be just fine. And there's a little bit of a side story in the idea that the 3 magical girls together made a promise that they would fight back against this whole thing and reclaim the things that they like. A world where they can like what they want and become normal again. So my thoughts on Magical Destroyers. I guess I've already skipped ahead with the intro, but I absolutely love this show. It is absolutely bonkers crazy. And I think that's for good reason. Now, I will admit there's a side of me that's like, okay, but nothing really impactful is happening. There's no real heavy messages here other than the fact that this government is terrible and they're, again, throwing a bunch of people into jail and removing all this stuff and the people that are trying to fight back against it. It's a really simple core concept already, and it's not like they're trying to get too deep into it. But I think that's almost for a purpose because it seems like Biberi Studios and the people working on this project just feel like they're having a lot of fun with it. They're trying to instill upon the show itself that love and that flashiness of otaku culture to have a message about removal of that otaku culture. To be honest, I watched Shimonetta and I watched Rumble Garandal, and for both of those, it kind of has a similar message within it. The things that we love so much, these things that we become otaku for, and a society that doesn't want us to spend time with it, that we're wasting away our lives and that we need to do what they think we're supposed to do. It's a subject that I think any anime fan can relate to, whether it's their parents, their friends, their coworkers, or society in general. And while I wasn't a huge fan of Shimonetta, and that was more focused towards censorship, and Rumble Garandal just didn't really hit well. I almost feel like this possibly be the one that both instills that fun of being an otaku with possibly some subject in there. Being wrote by somebody that worked with Jinrobuchi to write Gargantua and the Virtuous Planet. But again, I'm not expecting it to do much. I'm enjoying the dynamics and the energy within the characters themselves. Otaku Hero just seems like somebody that has a heavy passion for otaku culture and just wants to reclaim it. Being human in that he gives up, but then he has to be picked back up by somebody else that he supported. And to that note, Anarchy feels like she's kind of been carrying the show for its heart. She's just got so much energy, and like her name leads you to believe, she's all about anarchy and destruction. And I almost feel like that's sort of the theme of her as a magical girl, similar to Blue and Pink having their own theme. Blue seems like she's about self-indulgence, which society wouldn't want you to have. And Pink feels like she's about escapism and getting away from the world itself, yes, using injections to do it. I don't know if that's what their intent is, but it feels like the magical girls themselves are birthed from the concepts that have been removed from society. Mayhem, self-indulgence, and escapism. And it seems like it's already kind of hinting at the idea that they've been birthed because society has removed them, and their goal is to reclaim it into society so that they can become normal again. And I love that. Like I said, it's a relatability in the viewer themselves while you're watching the crazy, flashy action that's happening on the screen, the absurdity of what's kind of unfolding. At its heart, these are embodiments of things that we enjoy that society itself doesn't want. And like I said, whether it's going to get to something deep or something with that, I don't know. So far, it feels like these first 2 episodes is just to introduce the world itself, the concepts, and then the characters to be introduced and brought together. But at its core, what makes this show so fun so far is just the absurdity of the studio itself. People are already claiming this is like Gainax and Trigger ripoff, and that's not a bad thing. February Studios really does feel like they're trying to have a lot of fun with this show. The animation is over the top and just crazy bombastic. And all the while, the visuals and what they're kind of presenting itself is very, very questionable, and I love it for that. The episode 2 is a prime example in the idea that Pink is just, she's basically surrounded by a bunch of people that are on pills. Again, it's the idea of escapism, and everything within Pink's mind that they're all sort of being wrapped up into is absolutely absurd. Depictions of minds being opened up and the escapism that the drug itself gives. It's got all this kind of emphasis on drugs and hallucinogenics and stuff like that, which normally is kind of shied away from by anime. I mean, in all seriousness, it almost feels like the series itself is a middle finger to society from otaku culture, which is really great. Something we all want to do. And even when it comes to the magical girls themselves, they're not your typical magical girls. These are very dark magical girls, and the idea of anarchy is all about destruction, and Blue is all about self-indulgence and stuff. And even the transformations themselves are just way cool. Now, granted, I feel like anarchy is a little bit subtle, but with Blue and Pink, they're just absolutely nuts. Blue basically rips her skull out of her own head, and then with Pink, it's got like all these girls that have their head opened up that are climbing up her side and giving her a costume. It's just nuts. Like I said, that's where I'm getting my love for the show so far, and the idea that it just feels like they're just really holding nothing back, and they're just being nuts with it. Despite what I keep saying, I would be happy to see this series actually tackle some tough subjects with this whole idea. Technically, with Gargantua and the Virtuous Planet, at least with the anime that I've seen of it, it does have some point in which it kind of twists itself, and I think they can do something with that. Like I said before, is the concept of the magical girls themselves a manifestation because of the removal of otaku culture? What happens when that otaku culture is reinstated? What is the purpose for why they took the otaku culture out? Is it going to be as simple as, you guys are a bunch of dead weights, you're ruining society, we have to, get rid of you? Or is there going to be a deeper subject in there in the idea of the conflicts between, serving society and serving yourself? Based on the idea the big bad guy is wearing a television as a screen, I don't know if they will, but we'll see. Will it flop from here? We'll have to wait and see. Like I said, I'm keeping my expectations down just because Rumble Garandal didn't work out, and I wasn't a huge fan of Shimonetta, but it seems like it's going to have a lot of fun with itself, and I cannot wait to see more of it. But anyhow, that's my thoughts so far on Magical Destroyers. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, if you did, make sure to hit that like button down below, comment, let me know what you thought of these episodes, and if you're going to be checking it out. Additionally, if you're new to the channel, make sure that subscribe button to get all my content. I do news, reviews, first impressions, top list. If it's anime, it's pretty much here. Additionally, if you want to support the channel more, I greatly appreciate if you consider supporting us on Patreon. Tips link, super thanks, and membership button down below. Greatly appreciate everybody that does, and y'all take care.